Welcome to another episode of the Chronicles of Mr. I'm Mr. Pierre, and I'm so glad to be joined by a friend, a business owner, a mentor, if you will, because she's just all that in a bag of chips if I'm going to go ahead and date myself. I am joined by the one and only Verna Meadows. So thankful for you to be with us today, Verna.
Hey, it's a pleasure. Actually, the pleasure is mine. So thankful that you have me on here, considering that you just gassed me up like I was somebody I really just don't know me.
I am sure that once folks hear you and hear what you're about and what you do, they'll see that it's not really gassing up. It's just calling a spade a spade. You are all that. For most folks, because most of the guests here are in education, but in having a conversation with you as a business owner, can you give a little bit about your history and what it is that you do on a day-to-day basis?
So primarily I do hair, all things hair. I'm also an instructor in hair care. So that's probably why you think I belong in this I guess I can call it lane, but I have nothing on the real educators out there who are holding it down and molding the minds of some of the great people that we see today.
First and foremost, thank you very much. I appreciate that as a person in this lane, if you will. But knowing that the things that we do are because others have taught us or we've been able to glean from others. So even if you aren't in, per se, like a classroom, you being an instructor of hair makes you an educator as well. And so you are also one who's giving back to folks who are looking to be in that lane, if you will. So how did you get into what it is that you do?
So I actually was thrown into it, if you want to say. My mother used some relatives of mine and my great aunts as babysitters. And so I was often in the hair salon, probably from 3 on up. And so hair just happened to fall in my lap. I wouldn't say that I wanted to do hair. I didn't know until it just came about. It just became an art.
And you were saying that it was your mom's salon or your auntie's salon?
It's my great aunt's salon. She actually owned a salon back in the 70s. And that's when, you could smoke and blow the smoke into your hair.
Okay.
I never could understand that, but she owned it and she pretty much taught me about hair, just watching her really from the beginning. Mm-hmm.
And so even though that wasn't something that you necessarily were thinking about getting into, when did it become for you a career and something that you saw that you could do professionally?
Actually, probably about 9 years old, she had me putting a relaxer in. Something happened to her hand. And so, like, I realized rinsing that out, she paid me like $20, I think it was. Wow. And I thought, $20
Yeah.
girl, I'm like, oh,
that's something.
That's a lot of money. So, from then on, like she was giving me money, sweeping the floor, shampooing her clients. And at that point, I was like, oh, no, I ain't doing nothing else. Why am I going to school? I get paid. Just running water on people's hair.
Got it. While you were in school, because I know
it's out for me.
Because we were talking about that, about you being in school and there being moments where you felt like, why am I here? But there was one particular teacher who sort of helped you, who sort of flicked the switch, if you will.
Absolutely. That was my chemistry teacher. Shout outs to Miss Yates. I don't know if he's still alive, but that was my chemistry teacher. And I could not understand why we were taking chemistry and I'm going to do hair. It didn't dawn on me that chemistry was a part of hair. And in the beginning of her lessons, or no, the beginning of class, the very first day we enter her classroom, she had a questionnaire. And on that questionnaire, she asked you, what did you want to be when you grow up, when you left school? Or, it was just a very pointed question. And, we didn't think nothing of it as kids. But during her teaching time or labs and things like that, she would incorporate what we wanted to be. And so I wasn't getting good grades in chemistry. And one day she tapped me on the shoulder and she said, how can you put hair color in someone's hair if you don't know the chemistry behind it? Hey, Willie, that blew me. From that moment on.
Yeah.
Like, even in reading, in science, I mean, from that conversation with her, I understood that in order for me to be a hairstylist, involved everything I was learning in school. And that, I got straight A's after that.
I'm hearing you, and I'm hearing a person. Let me see if I'm hearing it correctly. Like, the teacher made a concerted effort to get to know you, ask you some pointed questions, and rather than just like, oh, I'm learning this just for the heck of learning, it was like, no, I want to learn this so that you will see what you are learning in my particular class is applicable to you. It's not like, oh, it's not going to be 10, 20. No, if this is something that you're interested in, which you've communicated to me, I want you to know that, hey, you're here, I see you, and what you're learning from me in this class applies to you. And it's going to benefit you. Right. This is not just like, I have to teach you this, that's why I'm teaching it to you. It's like, no. I have to teach this, but this is also how it applies to what you enjoy, what you like.
And that was not just with me. I mean, I didn't know. They said that she was a good teacher, and that she was mean and strict, and, so you were fearful to get in her class. And when you got in her class, you're like,
Yeah.
But, that attentiveness for her to plan before she even meet a child, that questionnaire she has. Now, I can't tell you what else was on there because there was about 10 or 15 questions. But that question in particular, stood out for me because of the application she applied later. That hit me, like, who would have thought, like, chemistry? Well, I mean, I see it now because I'm older. But, it's like things like geometry. You're like, why am I going to need geometry? Well, of course we need geometry, but you can't see it. And none of my other teachers did anything like that. That's why I remember Miss Yates, because she took that teaching or educating students to another level. So everyone in that classroom, and I promise you, everyone in that classroom at least got B's in that chemistry class. And you know how hard chemistry was.
I do. I was a science major. But what I'm hearing, all jokes aside, is like, what I'm hearing is an educator who made an effort to build a relationship with you, and wasn't like happened for this relationship to come about. They were intentional about it, and they made sure that, like, you knew that they saw you. And specifically to this, like you mentioned, is like, maybe that was question number 4 out of the 10. And because it was about you wanting to be a hairstylist and that was what you were into, for her to know, like, hey, this is going to be something I'm going to point out tonight. Whereas if it were me and I was like, oh, I'm really into, at that time, if I were in middle school and high school, I would have been like, all right, I'm into sports. Like, great. If that's what you're into, you talk about geometry, you talk about angles. Like, hey, if you want to get better at your shot, Wooly, like, this is how you should do it. This is the way you should position yourself. This is how you put your... And for me, that would have blown my mind too. Like, oh, snap. Miss Yates sees me. So, and maybe that was question number 10, like, what's your favorite sport? And that's how she would have been able to use it. So, yeah, I think, then how do you do that? Or how do you use, like, what you are going to, like, for whoever it is that you're instructing?
So I have taken that probably throughout my entire life. Like, I've never forgotten that. Okay. As you can see.
Yeah.
So when the very first thing I do when they're teaching anything, I don't, any part of the hair, it could be just braiding. You know, I ask a very specific question. Where do you want to go with this class? What is it that you're here to learn? Because, you know, some people can just be learning how to do things for money.
Right.
Here's a little money, you know, they don't really care about the health of the hair or anything like that. But, you know, you have to have some point of origin in order to teach what you need to teach. You got to get to the heart, you know, as you and I know.
Yep.
You got to get to the heart.
Because what I'm hearing you also say, and this is for the educators who are listening to this, there's intentionality in building relationships so that the student knows and feels something for the teacher. And it may not be something as huge as like, oh, this person makes me feel butterflies and rainbows. But like you said, other kiddos might have felt like, yo, this class is so tough. Miss Yates is so hard. However, I'm sure they also felt that Miss Yates saw them. And like you mentioned, no kiddo earning less than an A or a B says I'm invested in what I'm learning because it's applicable to me. I see that it's applicable to me because Miss Yates has made that happen.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's not a gem to look to ensure that you as an educator walk away from in here in this conversation, that's it. It's like, look to build relationships, not for the sake of, oh, I just want to know what your favorite color is. Like, no, I want you to know that you know this, or I see you, or that aspect of you, and know, like, here's how what you were learning in this class is applicable to you, or how it's beneficial to you. Would that be safe to say?
Absolutely. You did.
Cool. And you, as not just being an instructor, what are some things that in your time as a business owner, as a beautician, that you seem like, hey, this is the thing that's been really of benefit to me? I guess on the flip side of, you're now the instructor, but when you were the student, what was helpful for you that you find like, hey, this is what helps me now?
I loved hands-on. I am a visual learner. I cannot solve problems just based out of hearing. I have to see it. And so some of my instructors were very hands-on. They can see that, you know, they realize that different people learn differently. So I think that's a benefit for me being a student once. I can see that, you know, hey, Jane may not, you know, pick up something really fast just by saying it. She has to put her hands in it. So I'm that person. I'm a touchy-feely person, so I have to have examples in front of me. Yeah. So that helps when I'm instructing. I have assistants for my eyes also because just so I won't be tunnel vision. I have people that say, you know, this person couldn't hear you, or this person doesn't seem like she can see well, or, you know what I mean? Like it's helpful for me to remember that they're different learners, if that makes sense.
Oh, that definitely makes sense. And as an educator, as a teacher, for everyone's listening, yeah, you're looking to do that. You're looking to make sure that, maybe it's, you know, someone needs to hear a little music that's going to help them click. Maybe it's, as you mentioned, something more hands-on. Maybe it's going to be, I'm drawing some sort of model or something, and it's not simply, here's the algorithm, go ahead and do it, or I just told you the thing once or twice, and then it always, through osmosis, it seeps into your brain. It's like, oh no, come in a couple of times and try with your own hands. Sweet. So knowing that all your kiddos are different, all your folks that you're instructing are different, and so you're going to have to switch it up for each of them.
And you know what? He just made me remember. There's also, when you said something about music, you know, phonics works very well for my children growing up.
Yeah.
That music thing. So it's funny that in instructing hair, you would think it would be quiet, you know, and I'm just standing up and I'm like, again, I'm gonna use the example braiding. I'm showing someone how to braid. Actually, you know, you have to have a rhyme. In some instances, it's the a graph that rhymes that helps them to count when they cross it over fingers. Like some people get it and some people don't. It's weird, but you know, hey, that's
that's how we're built. We're different. Not all of us are gonna learn. Yeah, we're not all gonna get it the same way. May not all get it at the same time. The hope as an instructor, as a teacher, is that you don't necessarily have to get it at the same time, but hopefully you'll get it. And once you find your way of getting it, to be able to keep rocking with that. And if you're as a student and you recognize that, oh, I work best as a hands-on kinesthetic learner, or I work best as an auditory learner, I'm more sensory where like, yeah, I need to touch and talk my way through it. Then yeah, all of that is fantastic. And if you know that, you can then communicate it to your teacher or instructor, and it's a win-win to be able to say like, hey, Professor Meadows, this is how I learn best. And for you to be like, bet, all right, got you. I got you. Excellent. Speaking as, because something I like to ask guests is, you got to stay joyful if you're going to continue to do the thing that you love to do. What's bringing you joy at the moment?
what's bringing me joy. Actually, these young, hungry, new stylists coming out, if you will, like they are beasts, and that's what's bringing. I mean, it's like my mother said, I came out the womb holding my hair. So I knew I was gonna do hair.
Yeah.
No, these girls are coming out the womb knowing fashion and hair and things. So it's bringing me joy like that. When I step out here and I see, you know, faces asking, you know, questions about something I know from way back in the day,
Yeah.
to see them want to know is that's what brings me happiness. Because you know, if you know it all, you already know it all, you're not coming to see anybody. You know, you want to come out instructing yourself at the gate.
Right.
So that's what brings me joy, is that, you know, these girls are already talented and skilling, yet they're willing to listen to someone who's been out here in a long time. It's amazing.
That's what's up. Nice. To hear, what I'm hearing is, again, knowing that there are folks who are hungry to learn is bringing you joy.
Yeah.
Nothing better than that. Nothing better than that.
No.
We briefly talked about music and being lovers of music. If you were to create just a mini playlist of like, these are the songs that you're bumping or jamming out to right now, who would be on that playlist? And I've opened it up to, it doesn't necessarily have to just be a song. It could be an artist. It could be an album. It's all up to you.
I'm glad you said that, because I don't have one particular song that just moves me, but man, Mary J. Blige album, I mean, her old albums, her new album. I mean, I am a Mary J. Blige fan. So
Okay.
now it's Mary J.
Mary J. and JB. All right.
Yep. I still love Alicia Keys. That's my home skillet right there.
Nice.
For him, date myself.
It's quite all right. Quite all right.
Alicia Keys, India Irie, her new, it's this song. Oh man, I don't even know the title of it, but it is about the love of her and her husband, I guess, and her husband to be. It's just that's a moving song. So her, that will be, and then you know I got to throw a little edge in there. I don't know this kid's name, Drake, but it's the clean version. I gotta have a little edge in there, you know.
Got it.
Just a little edge, because I gotta keep these youngins knowing that I still hear you. Dabbing into there.
Got it.
Taylor Swift and Carrie Underwood. those are where I'm going with these days. They got some stuff to say.
Got it. All right. Can't go wrong with that. India.Arie, Alicia Keys, Mary J. Blige. This new kiddo, I guess, for the youngins, Drake, and then Taylor Swift and Carrie Underwood. All right. So to anyone's listening who heard this episode of the podcast, so thankful and grateful in hearing, look, if you're an educator, if you're an instructor, look to build those relationships, not for the mere fact of like, this is head knowledge, but how are you going to make whatever it is that you're teaching applicable to them? And hopefully your kiddos will see that. And because of that, because of them acknowledging that you see them, that'll then incite them to continue to want to learn. Professor Meadows, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I'm Mr. Pierre. She's V Meadows, aka Nay, and this has been another episode of Chronicles of Mr. And we out.
Deuce.